Welcome back to Cityline. As I said in our opening, do you remember when I had these two individuals on because we were talking about the rising from the ashes of the Dickman Mill? Well, it has happened. So please join me in welcoming back Christy Evans. You are the Capital Program Manager of this project for Metro Parks. Welcome back, Christy.
Welcome. Thank you.
Good to have you back in the house. And you brought with you this wonderful man, Mr. Mark Gans. You are the former CEO of Cambia Health Solutions. Welcome back, Mark.
Good to be with you today, Amanda.
Good to have both of you here. My goodness, Christy. First off, this is a vision that's been in the making for a long time. For those who don't know the history of Dickman Mill Park, can you give us a super condensed understanding of why this project is so significant to our community?
Yes, for sure. Number one, Tacoma was once, the lumber capital of the world, believe it or not. And this mill opened in the early 1920s and it closed in 1977. So it ran for a long time. It was one of the last operating mills on Ruston Way. And Ralph Dickman, who soon the mill was named after, he brought the head saw to this site in 1923 as the cutting edge of technology. Fortunately, in 1979, there was a fire and it destroyed all the buildings, but the head saw remained. And local historic preservationists, advocates, they pulled it out of the wreckage and it is now listed in a Washington State registered landmark. It's a great artifact. It's been displayed, when it was pulled out, it was displayed at Marine Park. So it's been there for a long time. And then when Dickman Mill Park was created in the early 2000s, we had it moved to the maintenance yard at Point Defiance. And that way, where it stayed, hoping at some point we will be able to do the rehab on it and bring it to the site. It sat there waiting for a couple decades. We just hoped that we would find some partners, some funding to restore it. And that's when Cambia magically arrived, unbeknownst to anybody. And they gave an unbelievable gift of $2.9 million for the community to have this restored, and not only restore it, but also to do a little makeover to the park, to brighten that up, to make it really picturesque in the setting for that new and revived artifact.
Beautifully said, Christy, beautifully said. So Mark, as we're all sitting here going $2.9 million with, wow. What prompted Cambia Health Solutions to give such a generous gift to our community? I mean, we say thank you, but what was the genesis behind it?
Well, we were born in Tacoma in 1917. And at the time that timber was king in the community. And our company actually was born out of the timber industry. And so we felt a couple of things. Number one, when we turned 100 a few years ago, we felt like it was appropriate to give a gift to the city from which we were born. And we thought, wouldn't it be great if we could find something that would also recognize the industry as well from which we were born. And so it was the perfect marriage, if you will, to be able to beautify Tacoma, provide, and I'm a student of history personally, so I was really struck by the notion of something that would be historically important to Tacoma and that perhaps would be a teachable place so that parents could bring their kids or grandparents could bring their grandkids and they could all learn a bit about what made Tacoma a great city in the very first place. And that would also feel, that would be fun. And I think through the incredible good work of Christy and her team, they've accomplished it. And for us to simply be, maybe a catalyst that helped create that ability for the city to realize its dream anyway, that the city Parks and Recreation Department had for the site, man, we're just grateful. We're just grateful that the timing was right, the project was right. And, I haven't been to see it personally yet, but I've seen it, in the pictures. It's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
Really breathtaking. And that's the best way to teach history, isn't it?
It is. It absolutely is. And what a match made in heaven in terms of Cambia Health Solutions and Metro Parks. And then, of course, the city of Tacoma, what you've accomplished. Christy, you talked about the head saw as significant to our history. Tell us about that breathtaking metal sculpture beside it.
Mm.
Yes. So the artist, Mary Coss, calls this the ghost log. And to best represent it, I'm just going to kind of read what she's written, and it's going to be displayed this way so other people will know what it means. But I can't describe it as well as I can read it from what she's got. So the abstracted sculpture weaves tighter vintage machinery and the organic growth of the cedar tree. The 8-foot diameter wheel and the tree ring stand witness to the enormous scaled logs that were cut at this site a century ago. The sculpture transforms organically, first loosely woven and then into twined baskets that honor the local Puyallup tribe.
Wow. Incredible.
She had a great vision of history in itself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Metro Parks seems to always find the perfect artist for the perfect installment when they activate an outdoor space. And this is no exception. Mark, you are credited by most people as the leader of this project. I remember talking to you just as Metro Parks was groundbreaking and you were nearing retirement. You said you haven't had a chance to see this yet. What are you looking forward to as you experience the site for the first time?
Well, I think one of the things that's most difficult for people to almost imagine was just how huge the trees were that were harvested at that time, and why a saw like that had to be manufactured, had to be invented to be able to handle logs of that size. So one of the neat things about the ghost log too is not only is it artistically beautiful, it also gives a sense of just the sheer size of the trees that were coming through that saw met head on. And so that people understand, understand that that's an important understanding the primeval nature of our forests up here in the Northwest, hopefully will give people a greater sense of appreciation for the place in which they live and a desire to protect it even as we harvest, because both have to be true. And so I think that I also like the idea of the rings of a tree.
Yes.
Notion of growth from within, and that every year, we grow. And I think there's something powerful for communities. I know it was a powerful image for our company. And I think one reason we've been grateful and to be able to have now lasted 104 years is I think because we've grown over time. And I don't mean grow as in I mean spiritually grown and grown in our understanding of the people that we serve and matured and hopefully are a much wiser organization today than we were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and 50 years ago, simply through the experiences that we've had and the learnings we've had. And so there's something, that's why Cambia, the name, came from, it's a riff off of cambium, which are the rings of a tree. It spoke to us of our roots and as well as our branches.
I love that. Wow. That reads like a bedtime story. It's so good. Christy, I know from our time working together at Metro Parks, you have an incredible long resume of beautiful park makeovers to your credit in this community. You're very humble. You don't talk about it very much. But I want to know what makes this one particularly special to you out of all of them.
Well, overall, it's the people of Tacoma, and some examples that have happened recently with this project that kind of give you that gist of where I'm coming from is, one is that we have some co-workers, brothers, the Pert family, that they have family members who worked at that mill. And so they have known that we've had this head saw, and they've longed to see that reinstalled before the retirement. One of them did get to see it before they retired. So that was really exciting. The other thing is the Dickman family themselves, when they came and saw it, and they've been kind of working with us through this, I mean, there was tears and there was joy. And then one thing that really pulled it off was during construction, the day we were bringing the head saw back to the site, we were lifting it off the big truck. There was a gentleman, an older gentleman, and I didn't personally get to see this. I heard this from the contractor, that he started crying and he was shaking, and they thought there was something wrong with him. And so they went to help him, the contractor did. And he said, no. He goes, I'm just crying because I worked there. I know this piece of iron. And he was just, beside himself. And I think that overall, that's what does it in the end for me on any of our projects that means something to people.
I have head to toe chills right now, total head to toe chills that at that moment, that man was there. So Christy, based upon that, and I wish I had an hour more to talk with both of you about this, what would you like to personally say to Mark as the funding champion for this project?
To tell you the truth, I think I'm just more shocked, and I really don't have words because it's hard to put it into words, and how thankful we are, and how the community is coming around this and enjoying it. And I think that's what just makes everybody happy about it. And we're grateful and happy, and it's hard to actually find the right words. Sorry, Mark, I'm not good at finding the right words, but I think you know what I mean.
Yeah. No words necessary. I think the feeling is mutual. The opportunity to do something special for Tacoma, which is a very special community and obviously very, very important, central really to our work as a company, is a bit beyond words.
It is.
But one idea that I would give you, Christy, just because of the stories you told, is, wouldn't it be amazing if some of the people who have encountered this, who are very emotional about it because they have a connection to it, if they could almost be informal docents for the people that come and ski, because I think they're, just telling a few stories about that saw and like how loud it was, and what was that, what was it like when the log met the saw and started working it through. Just that brings the history alive and gives a flavor.
It does, and I think that's something that the two of you definitely need to make happen. We do it at Fort Nisqually, so we could do it at Dickman Mill. Lastly, before they run me off the air here, Christy, tell us about when are we going to celebrate?
So we are celebrating, and we're celebrating Cambia, and it's Saturday morning, July 10th at 10 a.m. on the Dickman Mill site.
I love that. I want to say thank you to both of you individually and the teams that you represent. Another beautiful project with partnership with Metro Parks that keeps the history of Tacoma alive. I don't think there's anything better than that. So You two have submitted yourself in history, and I thank you so much for being back on here today. And I'll see you at the opening. How's that?